ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Welcome to Walking with Jabo. This is Woods Walk Gun Talk number 40. So we've done 40 of these now, walking in the woods here in Maine. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather today in the low 60s in the beautiful state of Maine. So I find my way back to the trail. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful week. We have a lot of things to talk about today, having to do with firearms, which is generally why I save these walks for that. And trying out a new camera setting today with just the narrow view instead of the more widescreen horizontal linear setting on the GoPro Hero 9 Black. I can see they have been through here cutting up a lot of these trees that have been felled from last year and this year. A lot of these trees were here. They're starting to rot, which is good because they rot and they turn into a carbon-based, which gives nutrients to the forest floor. And so we're going to go walking through the woods today. The state of Maine has been kind of busy with gun legislation, but not the kind you would think you would normally see, except for a couple of them. The biggest one being the red flag law, which the Democrats have been trying to get red flag laws passed in Maine for quite a number of years now, since Obama. Maine is a gun state, and all they got for Michael Bloomberg spending his millions of dollars in Maine was they ended up with a ballot referendum where voters chose constitutional carry, and it has been wildly successful. Maine, to this day, despite the Democrat propaganda about a couple of mass shootings done by the same person and a couple other instances of somebody going loony, a couple of times actually, people were shooting at cars going by on the highways, which is not cool. But what that ends up doing is it ends up enforcing the fact, or reinforcing, I'll turn this around, the fact that reciprocal constitutional permitless carry is more necessary than ever, because these lunatics would still have their firearms, and they would be more likely to do these shootings, in my opinion, of course, because people are no longer able to defend themselves. So you would see more shootings in public places like we see in other liberal cities. And they always use the same old, well, St. Louis is in a red state, which it is. St. Louis is run by Democrats. That has been an issue for a very long time. That all of the biggest cities are run by Democrats nationally. I don't think there's a single exception. And if there is, tell me in the comments. I'd love to see it. But as far as I know, when you start getting into Kansas City, Missouri, places like that, it is run by Democrats. Over here, we got a mama duck and a baby duck. Mama duck is watching the baby. I would hope, though doubtful, that that was the juvenile baby duck we saw that had been orphaned because the mother got run over. But we can use our little imaginations and hope that that is the baby duck found another duck to oversee it, to take over where the other duck left off. I hope. I don't know if ducks adopt other ducks. Maybe, right? So anyway, we're gonna go for our woods walk gun talk number 40. And you know, this has been a really great place to do these in. It's beautiful here. Maine is beautiful, and I want to really thank the Thornton Bird Club Bird Sanctuary for having Thorn Craig Bird Sanctuary here. The Stanton Bird Club, I mean. It's a really nice thing to have, and it's really appreciated. So, state of Maine red flag laws. We don't have any, but they want to have some. They haven't been able to do it with the legislature. Democrats lost seats this past election in both chambers, lower and upper. And they're not as powerful as they were. So, there's too many Democrats in red districts that are what you call blue dog Democrats. They're not rabid progressives. They support hunters and shooting. They will tell you mass shootings bother them, but until somebody has legislation that actually prevents mass shootings, they won't support it. And I have heard Democrats here say that. So Maine is turning red again, that much is for sure. It's a slow process. A lot of people have this thing in their head that Maine is a deep blue, hopeless state that's gone forever. That's not the case. We are not in the same category of Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware, etc., so on and so forth. When you get into upper New England where it's rural, things are different. Even in wildly liberal Vermont, Vermont passed constitutional carry in 2012. So Vermonters, while a lot of them are lefty lunatics, they love their guns. And you have constitutional carry in Vermont. You have it in New Hampshire, and you have it in Maine. Maine's had it since 2015, thanks to Barack Obama. and Bloomberg, who came in here thinking they could spend a lot of money and sway opinion. Didn't happen. What did sway opinion slightly was the mass shootings we had. Because a lot of people went, wow, well, I guess it can happen here. So, while the Democrats garnered some sympathy with that, much of the gun legislation they've tried to pass using that as a catalyst has failed, including red flag laws. We have a yellow flag law, which I do support. I've talked about that often on here. The difference being, with the red flag law, a family member, nosy neighbor, or adversary that just doesn't like you, maybe you fired somebody, and they're mad at you, can call the police because you had an argument with this person and say that I feel for my safety. The guy is a gun nut and I feel like he might do something to me. And under a red flag law, that would be all law enforcement would need. They could turn around, confiscate your firearms without a warrant, and make you the new victim of liberal lawfare have to go to court to petition the judge that you are safe to have your firearms back. So, with the yellow flag law, there has to be probable cause. You made criminal threats, perhaps, or told somebody, I'm going to get you, and say the K-I-L-L word. So, law enforcement can then go petition a judge, testify to that evidence, or a psychiatrist can also go with law enforcement to petition a judge and say this person has experienced schizophrenia, voices are telling him to do bad things, and the judge can remove the firearms temporarily until that person proves that they are safe to society. That I support. The opposite is the red flag law, which we don't have, hopefully never, is that if you're in a bitter divorce and you're having a custody battle, one of the people, male or female, doesn't matter, it's not sex specific, can claim the other person is a danger. I lived with this person and I know what they're like. So they tell the police, I fear for my safety, we're in a divorce, we're fighting over children, and he's an angry man or she's an angry woman. So the police, without a warrant, can take your firearms for the sake of public safety or the safety of the kid or family. You know, because you do see sometimes somebody in a custody battle, they decide she or he is not going to have the kid, and they kill the kid and they shoot themselves. We've seen that. That happened recently in New Hampshire, actually. So those things can happen. The difference being, though, if you had enacted a red flag law and took that guy's guns, you don't even know if there was any credible reason for that, or if anybody would have even called, because you only know what somebody shows you, So, but getting back to the spousal thing, somebody that wants custody of a kid can make a false report. There's no way to prove it's not true. And the police show up, take your firearms, and you know, the cop's like, okay, well, don't worry about it, you'll get them back. Just go to a court in 30 days, demonstrate that you're sane and you're not a threat, and you'll get your firearms back, which most people do. The problem is, the person seeking custody of the kid, their lawyer is going to turn around and use that in court and tell the court that, geez, this guy's crazy, or this girl is crazy. Look, the police had to take their firearms, they're so crazy. See what I mean? And if you're up in front of a liberal justice who supports liberal causes, and I know people are going to say, yeah, they're judges, they're impartial. I'd like to say they are, but they're not. We've seen it. So that's gone by the boards. Liberal judges are as corrupt as all hell, okay? Their integrity is gone. And what they're doing to President Trump right now in the White House is a perfect example of that. So you can't tell me that with a Republican in the White House, Republicans in the House leading the country, and the Senate, that if you come up in front of a judge in Maine that is a liberal who hates Republicans and guns, probably sees all these cases in court where guns are confiscated at crime scenes or used, that somehow law-abiding citizens should pay for that. I just hate guns. They should all be banned. I'm a judge and I'm going to wield my authority. Sadly, that's what they're doing. So that's the danger with the red flag law. How'd you like to be the guy or gal in court trying to defend against having your firearms taken in a custody battle where you may or may not have had an argument loud enough for neighbors to hear it, and they testify against you under oath because they did hear an argument and they heard you scream something. So it's not fair. And they always put the tagline in there, you'll temporarily have your firearms stolen, just prove you're okay and you'll get them back. What's the big deal? Well, that's one of the big deals. The other one is you get your firearms confiscated or something like that, and they find out about it where you work. Now the workplace is afraid of a mass shooting and they fire you. How is that fair to you? It's not. So I do not support that. Yellow flag law, I do. You have to prove to a court that the person should not have their firearms. That's the big difference. Even with a liberally biased judge, you need to have evidence. They can't just say, okay, well, there's not enough evidence, go ahead and arrest him, take his firearms. And they can't do that. So, because you have an appeals process, eventually you'll be vindicated, then you can start suing people. So, if you can afford to do so, which is the other problem. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. Anyway, Maine wanted to pass legislation for that, and they couldn't do it. So now they got over 80,000 signatures. I believe 68,000, or I think it was 64,000. 64,007 something, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Signatures were verified as legit. And out of the 80,000 signatures, over 15,000 couldn't be verified They either signed it twice or something like that. So it's going to be on the ballot. They got enough signatures required to be on the ballot for voter referendum. The voters will decide, like the voters decided ranked choice voting when Democrats couldn't get that passed, and went to the ballot box and barely passed. We got constitutional carry because of the ballot box. So we have wins and losses at the ballot box. Firearm ones traditionally have not fared well. Now here's the problem. Michael Bloomberg is going to be spreading Bloomberg bucks all over Maine trying to get this passed. He's going to spend millions of dollars. He's going to outspend the pro-gun guys 5 or 6 to 1. It's always what they do. So you're going to see tons of advertising, YouTube ads. You're going to start seeing, if you live in Maine, you're going to start seeing all kinds of ads and advertising on radio, newspaper, etc. Stuff mailed to you, mailers. And it's going to be a 6 to 1 ratio from the pro-gun people. And the pro-gun people are going to have to rely on social media, mainly. Free advertising. So when I'm asking you if you live in Maine, please call your representatives. Don't just nod your head and say I'll do that and then not do it. Call your local representatives, and always, always, always be respectful. Because as soon as you start ranting or something like that, don't take it as your opportunity to speak your mind. Talk about the bill they're trying to pass and why you don't support it. Say it's unfair and something I just mentioned. Maybe a coworker is angry with you because you got a raise and they didn't. And they know you go shooting because you talk about it at work. So they make an anonymous call to police. Oh, I heard him say something about coming in here and hurting people. And he probably didn't mean it, but maybe you should look into it. And if he's got guns, well, that's up to you guys, but something like that. And it's completely fabricated, not true. The other thing it does is it puts people at risk in their homes. What if it's early morning or late at night and the police have a no-knock warrant, which is another problem. Let's say they do show up with a warrant for your firearms and it's a no-knock warrant. What are you going to do at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning when you get woken up by somebody kicking your door in because you weren't answering it and they have a warrant? You're probably going to answer it with a firearm and you'll be put down for it. It's happened. It happened to that CEO in Arkansas of that airport. They kicked his door in and he was there with his wife and he did what any guy would do. Somebody kicks your door in, you're going to answer the door carrying a firearm. And they shot him. So things like that can happen. I'm still waiting to see what happens with that case with the Trump DOJ. Nobody's been talking about it. Maybe I'll raise that issue online somewhere. But, the other thing with the red flag law is, what if the police show up without a warrant and they're banging on the door early in the morning and you answer it with a firearm? They're there about a complaint of you with firearms and you answer the door with a firearm. Well, I love the police department and I love the police, but I would not want to be in their situation answering a call like that. Somebody suspected to be dangerous with a firearm, answering the door with a firearm. So there's a potential risk there as well for nothing. So I don't support constitutional rights violations of people. And I'm sure I'm going to talk about this. family man in Maryland who got deported, MS-13 member. It's been verified he was an MS-13 member. The media is making a lot about a photograph that was photoshopped, which just basically has letters MS-13 imposed on the photograph to demonstrate what the symbols underneath it are on their hands. A lot of these MS-13 members have symbols meaning M, S, 1, and 3. They have these tattoos all over their body, all signifying that they belong to MS-13. This guy has those tattoos and came from a place where if he falsely displayed those tattoos, he would be killed for it. So the liberal media is doing their usual thing they do, which is pathetically obvious at this point. And I have them on ignore. And basically the Democrats are defending criminal, illegal aliens. And it's not faring well with the public, despite the fake polling we've seen, and it is fake, at Trump's first 100 days. See, they play in all these things. You know, they know Trump's 100 days was coming up. So the AP, Ipsos, CNN, everybody else, they do the same crooked polling that got the polling wrong before the election. They don't know how to poll for Donald Trump, even if they wanted to. So they're biased polls. And when you have somebody that has 90% approval in the Republican Party with what he's doing, there's no way he can have the worst polling numbers in his first 100 days in 80 years. So it is glaringly obvious it was a fake poll result to begin with, that the media ran away with. So truthful numbers, Trump's approval dipped maybe 3%. That's a truthful number. And it has to do with tariffs and uncertainty. And a lot of the polling was done when the media was making a big deal about tariffs, pensions, retirement funds, that sort of thing. Stuff people care about. They started going, yeah, well, this is nervous. So, I'll turn this around here, this part. So, we have stuff like that, and you know, it's understandable that people get nervous, but Trump has been reiterating this week, don't get nervous, don't panic, be patient. This is all going to work out. You have to trust me on it. And I trust President Trump because he has some of the world's best people, literally, in the White House on this. So they say there isn't going to be a recession. The media says there will be. The experts they put on say there will be. But the people that say there won't be, the media is not putting them on. So we're back to that stuff again, okay? And you can usually tell when Democrats are losing when they start crying on TV. Literally and figuratively. I saw an exchange yesterday with Ana Navarro on CNN. I didn't see it live. I don't really watch CNN. But I watched the clip of it. And Scott Jennings had just finished up speaking. Love that guy, by the way. See a lot of clips of him. Yeah, he's a sane one. At least CNN will have somebody sane on there. And so he's the token conservative on a leftist news network, just so they can say, oh, we're not biased. We have a Republican on their panels. But anyway, take that as you wish. But anyway, Ana Navarro got really, really upset with the black conservative that was on there. She started bringing up race, and once she started losing the illegal immigration argument, she brought up the race card to a black man, talking about how was it illegal for thousands of black Africans to be brought to America. Was that illegal? How come we're not deporting black people then, if that's your argument? Well, that was it. And then they got into a very heated exchange, and she was nasty. And that's what they do when they're losing. They get even more nasty. So if she's not sitting there smiling, laughing at the Republican host, and she's getting angry, saying mean things, then she knows she's losing. They know they're losing. Only people that are losing do that. When Democrats were destroying this country, many conservatives online were very angry because we were losing. We ended up winning an election, turned things around. 3.5 years from now, things are going to be great. We're going to see prosperity in this country we've not seen in a long time. And that's the other thing I want to remind people of. You know, if you're a younger person, you know, I'm 57, and I grew up in the 70s, right when things started to decline the most. We had the oil glut. I remember lines of cars at the gas station, people getting angry, gas being rationed. You had tickets to get gas. And I also remember our local taxi company had all their taxis painted red, white, and blue with the American flags head to toe on them. The whole car was painted like a flag. And it was our bicentennial 200-year celebration. I remember that. I was just a kid because I'm 57, and that was about 50 years ago. We have the 250th quarter century. There's a name for it. I don't know what that is, but they have that celebration for next year. Actually, 2026 next year. So that's going to be an interesting celebration with Trump as president. It's going to be awesome. I'm sure he's going to pull all the stops. So when these people are losing, they get nasty. That's why you just saw Governor Pritzker call for nationwide protests, protest of anger and rage. When have we heard the Democrats do that before? The last time we heard that, we had a leftist, neo-Marxist political organization called Black Lives Matter riot nationally and con all these empathetic liberals who don't have any common sense into supporting rioting and burning down cities. And we even had the damn useless fool Kamala Harris end up as vice president, who, when she was a senator, was posting stuff online to raise bail money so these rioters could go out and riot some more. And I remember she was doing that, and I'm watching a live stream on YouTube, and this black guy, retired police officer, protecting a pawn shop from being looted, was shot dead in the chest. He's lying there on the sidewalk, working as a security guard in a pawn shop after a career in law enforcement, which he shouldn't even had to do that. Those guys are heroes. Was shot dead. Dead. And I watched him die right on camera. And nobody would help him. They stood there and filmed it. Almost like they thought it was funny or he deserved it or something. So, turns out, we never found out who shot him. But what if it was one of these people that got bailed out with the money they were raising? Act Blue was fundraising off of that. Act Blue, I believe, is currently being investigated by the DOJ for laundering money for the Democratic Party. And I know something's going to come from that. They have illegally masked the identity of past donors or people that have never donated to a Democrat. They are making small dollar donations. So all you see when Kamala Harris was nominated over Joe Biden, a record number of small dollar donations. $80 million was raised in one day. That was Act Blue. That was dishonest, crooked, deceitful. One woman that got investigated by Project Veritas, they got her permission, they looked up her name, she made $18,000 worth of small dollar donations, several of them, which she says she never made. So Act Blue stole her identity and made payments in her name because federal election law prohibits making large dollar donations. So the Democrats, who aren't as popular as they appear, seem to always have a huge cash cow, small donor money. So it's obviously fraudulent, and we aren't going to see the Department of Justice do something about it, and I'm looking forward to it. So we got a lot of things we're going to look forward to, and they are going to happen. A lot of frustration right now because people aren't getting arrested only 100 days in, 3.5 months. I explained this on the last walk. It's like, come on guys. Nobody from Biden's DOJ was investigating anything, okay? We were talking about it, but they weren't doing anything. So basically, they've come into corrupt organizations run by bureaucrats who feel like they're above the law and investigate what they want to investigate, which often is politically motivated. So there's all kinds of evidence there, I'm sure, against Republicans. I saw how the Biden administration was putting certain organizations on domestic terrorist watch lists without them knowing it. People using the internet, online influencers. And that just got revealed by Tulsi Gabbard. So this is what they were doing. So they're coming into these agencies that are already corrupt, and people are expecting arrests like overnight. And it's like, come on guys, live in the real world, okay? It's gonna take at least a year. We're gonna see some arrests along the way. You're just gonna have to be patient. I know, we've been waiting 10 years, okay? Patience has run out, I get it, okay? But we're not gonna do anybody any good at all if we rush arrest without enough proper evidence, even if they're guilty, that they get away with it, because they'll be tried in DC more than likely. And you're gonna have a crooked judge, you're gonna have a biased jury. You have to have rock solid, concrete evidence to prosecute anybody. The last thing we want is people to be charged and they get off and they say, oh, well, this is just Donald Trump paying people back for what they did to him because he's a criminal and he was mad. So we don't want that, do we? So we need to be smart about this. So we need to be smart. Are we smart? Yes, we are. We're going to be patient. We're going to wait. And we're going to enjoy the glory that's going to come. So anyway, I want to take a moment. Today is a National Day of Prayer today. Very important day. And it's really important because I really feel like God is coming back into the United States because of our election win. And we're fixing a lot of things that were broken and evil and corrupt. There's still a lot of fighting left to do, which we'll do and we will win. Almost all of these injunctions against Trump are going to be turned and reversed. Many legal scholars who teach or used to teach law in colleges agree that Trump constitutionally has the right to do just about everything he's doing. And this is all just delays and stalling, trying to get through the Trump presidency with as little damage to liberals as possible. That's all it is. Resist. Remember that? Resist. Well, it took 100 days for the Democrats to get going, but they're pretty much about ready to go in full swing, calling for nationwide protests. And today is a national day of prayer. So I wanted to pray to Lord to protect this country. And Lord God, Lord Jesus, please protect this country and this nation and help President Trump and his agenda and help Americans prosper again like we used to. And to get this evil out of our schools, which is neo-Marxist gender ideology, which is fake science, paid for science by academia and universities, studies that were paid for. And people are returning to common sense. So Lord God Almighty, please, I pray for this country and President Trump, and to get God back in America, and for people that have sinned to seek redemption for their sins. And in your name, Lord God, Lord Jesus Christ, on this day of prayer, I love you very much, and thank you for being in my life. I'm the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So today is the National Day of Prayer. I hope you said a prayer with me. And we're at an important time in our history right now where we need to be calm, level-headed, smarter than they are. And a lot of that comes from being smart and calm. Go figure, right? So we are going to win because we are better than evil. And I truly believe these progressive Democrats are evil. I do. I don't think inherently they always have been, but I think they have been absorbed so much into it now that they have lost focus on what real democracy is. Their idea of democracy is not democratic at all. A perfect example is Secretary of State Shanna Bellows in Maine here, who is running for governor to replace Janet Mills. We don't know who the Republican is yet, but you know, she was groomed for that, and part of her test of the party was writing Donald Trump off the ballot for the primary using a legal loophole that didn't work. And she also sued to have RFK Jr. off the ballot because she wanted to protect the vote for Biden. So they cheat. And they'll say, what do you mean cheating? You know, it went to a court and a court ruled, you know, but you tried to. You tried to cheat, okay? You didn't get away with it. That's the only difference. You cheated. So you can be charged for attempted murder, okay? You try to kill somebody and it failed, you're still guilty of a crime, okay? So Democrats cheat. So anyway, she's going to be running for governor, and she always has that fake liberal smile and her head shaped like a pumpkin, and she's going to have all the money she needs. All the media will be behind her. Problem is, she's not very charismatic at speaking. So that may be a benefit for a Republican that just gives hard truths that she cannot answer. Kamala Harris had that problem. Shanna Bellows is going to have the spotlight on her, and she's going to be asked tough questions, not by the media, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out that she's going to have to defend, and she won't be able to. So it's going to be interesting to see. And she wants guns banned. So she's even more of a radical than Janet Mills. Janet Mills had the common sense to veto a couple of gun bills, and she also stopped a whole bunch of last-minute Senate shenanigans by the Senate Majority Leader last minute on their last day in session, because a lot of Republicans had gone home. It was the last day. They thought the day's business was done, but the Democrats had secretly planned to have an immediate session last minute and pass illegal legislation without Republicans there. and Janet Mills refused to sign it. She signed it because we're breaking away from our norms, and Mainers are not going to like this, and I'm not going to support that. And in fact, she locked up the Blaine house and she wouldn't even answer the door when the Senate Republicans walked across the street with their bills they just passed for her to sign. She wouldn't sign them. So she understands what I do, that Maine right now is in the process of turning red because of radical far left extremism, because she's seen it happen here before. So that's why I say we need to stay vigilant. Shenna Bellows is not going to be like that, like Janet Mills was. She'll just sign everything. She'll cheat. She'll do everything awful. And that's why we need to make sure she won't win. Now, the guy I did not support for the congressional seat, Mike Sobolewski, is one of the more known Republican names in Maine. He's also more of a, closer to being a moderate than an actual hardcore MAGA. So he may be able to play the independent card, which represent a third of the voting population in Maine is independent. So he may be able to get a coalition of libertarians and some of the RFK voters and things like that. And he'll have the Republican MAGA vote as well. I guess you don't have to guess what side I'm on with that. So right now I'm looking at a whole bunch of turkeys out in the field. So we're going to go bother them. But anyway, it is a beautiful day today in Maine. We're going to be heading out across that field. All right, head across this field. Say hi to the turkeys. Don't know if they'll still be there when we get across. But this is a pretty big field here. Beautiful day, isn't it? So we're going to walk across this field that I like to walk across. I'm going to retie my boot on that bench. My boot is getting loose. These are new boots that usually don't loosen up on me. So I must have done something wrong. I might have mislooped something. See a turkey head out there bopping up and down. If I had a 20 gauge shotgun, we'd be eating turkey if it was hunting season. No, that's a big bird. I did see a turkey though. Oh, there he is. I see his head bobbing up that hill. I don't know if you see it moving. It is red. This red thing there on his throat, whatever you call that. Turkey scrotum. Whatever that is. Oh, this is all flooded here. I'll walk across here. The turkey took off. see any movement. I saw the turkey head going up and down there. It's headed off into the woods, I guess. I saw about 4 or 5 of them from across over there. Anyway, it's pretty nice out here. So it was a nice day of prayer thing at the White House today. A whole bunch of spiritual leaders were there. Alveda King, I really like her. She's a niece of Martin Luther King Jr. Big Trump supporter that you don't hear about in the media very often, because why would they promote a black Trump supporter? So we had Jewish rabbis there today, Christian leaders. We had pastors from all denominations, all colors there today. Isn't this beautiful? Why would you go out and walk miles into the woods? Why the hell would I do that? Alright, gotta tie my boot. Prop this up here. Lace is loose. So I hope you're enjoying the walk today. And, like I said, I sincerely hope that you say a prayer for the country and in support of President Trump. As I stated, most of these executive orders that have been blocked with injunctions, the injunctions are going to be reversed. I don't know which ones will be upheld or not, but I think it'll be very few, if any, simply because he has the authority. He has the authority as President of the United States. Oh, well, what have we here? That, my friends, is a tick that I just killed. That was crawling on my boot. So it's almost full grown. So they're early this year. Well, how do you do? I have to check myself for ticks already. Well, that's not good. So anyway, what you do after being out in the woods, it's obviously tick season, May 1st today. Typically they're not that bad until the end of May, early June. So the fact that I just took one off me now, and you got to pinch them with your nail to break their shell, then you can kill them. And I saw that crawling on my boot, and I was brushing at it and it wasn't coming off. So that's what ticks do. When you try to brush them, they stick, they grab on. So I'm gonna have to be careful of that, I guess. I'm gonna take a second look at my other leg. And like I said, they crawl up your body, and it takes a while before they roost. So, you know, very important for you when you go out walking in the woods in Maine and you come back. It is very important to shower and soap heavily. That's usually enough to get rid of ticks off you. They can't hold on when they're all soapy. So, you also may be wondering, what's this? What is this thing? Why do I have this with me? This is another camera, which is really good because it has a really excellent picture quality, for one thing. Audio quality, not so much, but the picture quality is really good, and it's inexpensive. It's like $69 on Amazon. And it does record in 4K. I have it set for 1080p. And it's amazingly sharp picture quality if you make sure the lens isn't covered. And the reason why it's less expensive is it's not waterproof, for one thing, but they do sell a kit you can get for these that has like a waterproof thing in it. You put it inside this clear thing, seal it up, and it is waterproof. We've used it shooting jugs at the range. So this is what some of those videos up close were shot with. And you know, the GoPro Black that I'm using for the main camera that you're looking at me through is about $200 to $250. Does a good job. They have ones that are actually better now, but this one is really good. You can record in 4K with it if you want. It has all the lens settings you'd probably need for general purpose stuff like we are. And so with that, I mean, it's I brought this just as a backup, and also in case I'm filming myself and I want to get something on film, but I don't want to interrupt what I'm doing. So I brought this as a just in case. I don't know how often I'll use this, probably not much at all, but I just was going to bring it with me today to see how practical it is. And you know, I'm not sure I really need to record much out here with it. And it's also a good source of maybe shooting something extra to insert in a video for no reason, to catch something cool, you know. So now we're gonna head back. So now I know I gotta check myself for ticks. And while I was just off camera there for a second, I pulled another tick off my pants, crawling up my body. So I walked through this field and I already have 2 ticks on me. So I'm thinking possibly this will not be a big route for me to walk through, at least until after tick season. What bothers me though is both of the ticks I took off me were almost full-sized, and that's surprising to me. I had a tick on my shoulder blade last July that I picked up July 4th weekend. That was not a good one. That's the only time I've had a tick roost on me. So it's a very rare thing, but I just had 2 ticks I took off me, so that's not good. I'm really surprised they're out this early. Very surprising to me. So every once in a while, I'm gonna have to stop and take a look on me. Well, that sucks. Welcome to Maine, deer ticks. Wouldn't be so bad if they didn't carry, you know, disease. Not all of them do. and the one I got bitten by didn't. But if they're on you for a period of 48 hours, the shorter amount of time that they're on you, the less likely you are to get sick from them if they do have a disease, like a Lyme disease or other diseases. So you need to get them off you as quickly as possible. Very importante. Now, I was walking off the trail in some brown leaves, and that's the kind of stuff that they hide under. And they hide under there and wait for something to come by, and they latch onto them. If you stay on a trail like this, usually you won't get them. So when I get back, I'm gonna do what I usually do. I'm gonna strip off all my clothes. Exciting, huh? Throw them in the washing machine. Do the laundry, and if anything survives that, you put them in the dryer with your clothes, and that'll usually get hot enough to kill ticks on a hot setting. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all lathered up in the shower real good, and if there's any on me, I should have them. I'm going to check in the mirror before I get in the shower on my back, places you can't check easily. And the one I had was on my shoulder blade, and it was there for a couple days before I noticed it. My right arm started getting sore, and my back felt kind of itchy. So I put my back up against the door frame, and I felt some kind of resistance on my back, like something was on me. And it was an engorged tick. An engorged tick. So I had to pull it out carefully with needle nose pliers behind my back. It was not fun, but I did it. You have to make sure you get the head out of it. So that was all good after being all bad. So that's because I didn't take the time to check for ticks. And that's why I check for them. I'm not wearing knee-high socks today. Unfortunately, I didn't think I need to wear those yet. Next time I walk through here, I'm going to have my knee-high socks. White socks, so I can see any ticks on them when I pull my pant leg up. But we're getting the exercise. Oh, the wind's picking up. Good news is the two ticks that were on me were very slow moving. I think they're just waking up. Did they hibernate full grown? I don't know. A lot of deer track around here. They probably picked up some ticks too. A lot of times you'll see ticks all over a deer during tick season. And it's an inconvenience for the deer because the deer will also get disease and stuff, but a lot of times they don't. And all the tick does is it lives off your blood to feed its eggs, and then it drops off. And wherever it falls is where the eggs are. So, because the tick dies. So it's just there to feed parasite, you know. So I hope you're enjoying the walk today. You get the part of it with no ticks on you, which is nice. Really surprised they're that early this year. Who'd have thunk it? Does that mean there's going to be a lot more? Or is it just early this year and it'll fade out? I guess we'll find out, won't we? So if you stay on the main trail like this, you won't get any ticks. Problem is I veered off into the brown leaves and brush. That's why it's recommended to control ticks on your property, to keep your stuff like these leaves, either rake them up or mow them. I like to mow the leaves and make mulch out of them, but that's not the environment ticks like. They don't like when there's no leaves, or if the leaves are all ground up. But right through here, there's probably ticks all through that. They're waking up, looking for a host. Well, that's a nice view. Sun has a nice angle. It is a beautiful day today. Ticks are not. So we're going to work our way out of here now. I'm going to cross the turkey path, the deer and turkey path. Up ahead here, past where we came in. We haven't seen anybody out here today. We were just at Whale Rock. All right, so we'll traverse the rocks here. It's all mud. Go rock hopping. There we go. Oh, there's a blue jay. Hi, blue jay. There's a blue jay hopping along there. Here's There's something else up in the tree above me, clacking away at something. See that right there? Somebody stepped right in that mud. Somebody got stuck in the mud. This looks like it was muddy, but it's drying up. So this looks walkable. Oh, this looks muddy. Still a little muddy. A little muddy here and there. Alright, now we're going to be going up this way, where the entire field up here is infested with poison ivy and ticks. This might be the last time I walk through it. I don't think the grass has grown enough to pick up any ticks. And the ticks I got today was my fault. I was walking through the woods in loose brush. Definitely something I shouldn't be doing when ticks are out, and I just didn't think they were out. See what I get for thinking? Get into trouble. Smiley face with an arrow, telling people which way to go. Come down this way. And somebody left a comment on one of my videos, you know, saying, wouldn't that be funny to have a walk where it turns out to 5.56 miles, like the ammunition caliber? Yep, that has happened. I got a couple of those, at least. Don't see any ticks on me. Anywhere. Can't see on my backside, so that looks okay so far. If I can get across here without sinking in the mud. Freaking mud hole right there. I'm gonna go up this way, and I think we'll bypass that field today. We'll go across it some other day, ticks or not. They usually keep a trailway through it mode, but I haven't gone the other way yet, and I want to see how the green foliage is coming on my other route, because by the end of May it looks like the green moon of Endor and Return of the Jedi through that part. So we just hit 3 miles, so I only got a couple miles left anyway. It's a good walk today, though. Regardless. Now I have walked where I'm walking now, and I have noticed ticks on me, at least one. I'm not seeing anything new. Ticks like to find a soft, fleshy spot. Things like armpits where it's warm, behind your knee. They won't like get like in the middle of your leg somewhere. They're gonna find a nook and cranny. So behind your ear is one place. Shoulder blades, groin area, your butt crack is another one. So, oh, my ferns are starting to grow. They're just little fernlings right now. Here. These are going to be nice big fat ferns. Nice. All right. Wanted to see if they worked on anything this way or not. Doesn't look like it. Looks the same. Now this field over here has bird boxes. They have bird boxes over here, and they feed a lot of birds. And this is one of the signs I told you about. So that is something you have to worry about. But these bird boxes are there, and they let this brush grow. And this field is full of poison ivy and ticks. And the birds love eating ticks. They eat ticks. So it's like a feeding ground for them. But the damn ticks, you know what I mean? They're ticks. I don't like them. I'm going to cook a pasta dinner tonight. I think that'll be good. So I usually wait a few minutes after I get home and have some trail mix and then hop in the shower. I'm going to go directly into the shower and do the aforementioned laundering of my clothing. Throw it in the dryer. So this part we're walking through right here. One time I walked over by this apple tree and I had a couple of ticks on me last year. So I was walking on this grass that I'm walking on. So this is definitely a tick field when this stuff starts growing. As you can see, it's very nice out here today. I am very, very grateful that the Stanton Bird Club keeps this going every year. I have no idea what they pay for taxes to the city. Hopefully they get a non-profit break from that, because the last thing I would love to see here, the last thing I would want to see here, I should say, is a housing project, a small mall, or something built on it, you know what I mean? That would be a travesty. So we came down this way, and we're going to walk out the other way. All right, got a new battery. Walk through this way. Head on down this way. Around. This is that stretch we ran through. And that older guy there had his walking sticks. We had that conversation before the election about Trump. He was absolutely convinced Trump wasn't going to win. There's no way it would even be close. I wonder what he thinks now. He kept citing all the media bullshit as his proof and evidence. It was a respectful conversation, at least. But I'd like to see him again, just to see what he has to say, if anything. He's probably still regurgitating the media crap. Now down here, I noticed there's that wood platform. I don't know why that's there. But apparently it's there because it's swampy down there, and if somebody wants to take a picture or check out wildlife, they can stand on that. We got 3.5 miles. Little squirrel. Going up the tree. I don't know if you saw that, but right in that little cubby hole in the bark, he had a couple of nuts stored in there. He remembered where they were and he went and got them. Isn't that cool? You just saw him go in there and get it. That's why I like coming here. Ticks or not. Well, I listened to a really good rock album last night by the band Kiss. It's their 1975 album, Dressed to Kill. What a great album. They had that perfect classic rock sound. Somebody's dog out there. Had that perfect classic rock sound. Great songs. I enjoyed listening to the vinyl record last night. It was very good. I don't usually hear that dog barking. It heard me talking. I guess the dog feels like it owns this. I like those walks through here where I stumble onto deer by accident. That's happened a couple, 3 times. You've seen that on video on these walks. These wood walks are always longer. I've thought sometimes about editing, but I talk about so many different things. Like, well, I'll just leave it in there. So we're gonna head on out of here now. Hands falling asleep. It's difficult to hold a camera like this. That's why sometimes I put it on my head, but can't do the selfie with that unless I had another camera that was stable on a selfie stick with a microphone that you could hear me. So we'll head down through this way. Oh, big fat bumblebee. The fat bumblebees are out. Oh, he took off. Saw me filming. I don't have permission to air that bumblebee. It didn't want to be filmed. It took off. So the other thing I did today, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the walk, is got a new camera setting I'm trying on this, which is the narrow without the horizontal leveling. So if I tilt it to one side, it'll tilt. But the boost is on to keep it stable. So I want to see if that gives it more of a live look that's tolerable to watch. So hopefully it's not too bad. And if I don't like it, well, we won't use it. The other thing I wanted to use it for is everything's a little bit closer. Instead of further away, it's a little closer. So it looks closer to what I'm seeing with my human eyeballs, which is what I would like, rather than this kind of widescreen horizontal with the leveling. Basically what it does is it gives me 90% of widescreen and it crops off the end where the photo is distorted. So we don't want to have that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the gun talk today. Most of the legislation in the state of Maine looks like it might not go anywhere again. And like I said, you can tell when the Democrats are frustrated because they start trying to get things on referendum for people to vote on, where I think it's easier for them to get people to go vote if they see it on the ballot. They think people will support it. But I have a Democrat cousin and she carries a firearm and she doesn't want to be hampered by limited rounds and crap like that. So, and I think she's more of an independent. A lot of that in Maine, a lot of independents. Kind of like Wisconsin, you know? So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We have bills to try to prevent people from leaving a firearm in their vehicle unlocked, unsecured. They want it locked up in the trunk if you do that, instead of in plain view inside the car, which most people don't leave their firearms in plain view in the car. And the ones that were stolen and used in the shooting, they were stolen, for one thing, illegally. And the vehicles that they were taken out of weren't locked, which a lot of places in Maine, people still do that because it's rural. I don't leave anything like that in the car, and I'm never going to leave anything like that in the car. Whether it's legal or not, it's legal now. But I bring it in the car when I get in the car, if that makes sense. A lot of people have magnet attachments installed under the dash, or they'll keep a trusty dusty 1911 in the glove box. That is a good glove box gun because it can withstand the lowest temperatures and function, or the hottest temperatures. You don't have to worry about the polymer lowers with ones like that. But I don't leave firearms in a vehicle. I feel better just carrying one all the time with me so I know where it is and it's there ready when I need it, if ever, which hopefully I never need it. So we saw one person down here off in the distance. We only saw one person today, somebody with gray hair. I guess they were taking pictures. Good place for that. And kind of surprised. I thought there'd be more people out here today. Now we're supposed to have rain this weekend, so it looks like we're going to have another washed out range day weekend. We won't be shooting again, it looks like. And we have a bunch of work to do on the homestead anyway. So that's pretty much going to take up the weekend. So we're going to be working hard this weekend, getting all blistered up. So we're going to walk on out of here now and conclude this walk. Woods Walk and Gun Talk number 40. 40th anniversary. 40 episodes. Started doing this last year, last fall. Hard to believe. We got 40 of these already. Shows you how often I walk, because it's not even 365 days later. And we already have 40, and the rest of them have been other kinds of walks. I've got the very first 20-minute walk through here I recorded on video on my cell phone. It's herky-jerky, it looks terrible. The phone I have now has a stabilizing, which is nice, but I mean, I could record with my phone if I got a bigger SD card to put in it, but I like using the GoPro much more, and the GoPro is much easier to upload video. You don't have to turn your phone off and remove the SD card. If I had an Apple phone, that'd be a lot easier, but I don't use Apple phones, even though I use an iPad. So anyway, I'm going to walk out of here now. This is the entrance, one of the entrances. Pretty cool. Hi, how you doing? Pretty good. So this is the other place down here where they have the little free library. Take a book, share a book. So they expect people to stick a book in here once in a while. Free books. Looks like people have been taking the books. Bird watching in America, hunting from home. And it looks like a lot of people are not putting books in here. Anyway, it's a good idea. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for walking with me today. God bless you. God bless your family. Say a prayer for President Trump and the country. And if you go walking in the woods this time of year, apparently you're going to have to wear some knee-high socks of some sort so you can monitor the ticks. And anyway, thank you for walking with me. Click like and subscribe, share the content, and God bless you, and God bless America. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.